Okay, welcome to the Trading Buddy System Futures and Forex forecast for the week of January the 22nd. It's good to be with you. Hopefully everyone is doing well with your trading. I've been sick pretty much since the start of the year, so trading has been a little bit up and down for me, but we're just going to keep plugging away, and that's kind of what you have to deal with. And actually, being a full-time trader, it's really a big blessing to know how to trade and to be able to still focus on your health and still provide for your family. So it's a big positive of sticking with this and learning how to trade. So let's get started here with what to expect for next week. Like I said, my trading is been a little bit sparse here, so my forecasts may not be completely comprehensive as comprehensive as I like to look at a lot of different things to get an idea of what's going on, but I haven't been doing that this week. Please bear with me. But again, this is mostly just showing you what I am planning on doing. It's not something to tell you what you should do, right? It's just to give you an idea of what I think the markets are doing. And if you like the way that I approach the markets, great. If not, that's fine too. Let's take a look at the stock futures is what we're looking at very first. So we got a surprise during the middle of the week. What we were expecting last week was this market to possibly start by breaking the highs and then coming down and starting to see some selling, and mostly because of this advanced decline line and just seasonality, at the after the runs of the Santa Claus rally and the end of the year rallies, we expect a little bit of a sell-off in the stock market at the beginning of each year. And the advanced decline line was showing that. We are seeing that, it's making lower highs here, and the price is not. So this is a very suspect for me to see what happened here in the in midweek. I was expecting it to come down. So I got stopped out on Thursday. And then yesterday I made a short trade, and the market just kept on rallying the whole day. So I had a little bit of a loss on Friday as well. What I'm expecting to happen is the sell-off to continue. And so if Monday the market comes to Friday's low, that is a huge sell signal. That's what Larry Williams calls a specialist trap, where you've got lots of buying, a lot of breakout here. But if it immediately comes back down to this low, Friday's low, then it's a false breakout. We should be expecting it to go down. So what I'm going to be watching for is if this advanced decline line continues to strengthen and the price, continues to go up, and then the advanced decline line follows with it. Typically, when we see this type of divergence, you can see if I move it down like this, and this other price open is just volume, which is very similar to an advanced decline line. You can see how similarly that moves. But if it this is the divergence that we kind of look for, where price is going like this and advanced decline is going like this. So that's a bearish divergence that I would expect the market to kind of have a sell-off. Now, it's not doesn't mean it's going to crash or anything by any means, but I would expect Friday's low to be broken within Monday, Tuesday for that to happen. Also, if on Monday we make kind of a higher high and then it kind of comes back down, makes kind of a doji candle, and then Tuesday we break that, make kind of a three-bar reversal, I'm going to be looking for sell signals in the stock market, the stock futures. You can see how high it's gone, 48.70. Quite the move to the upside the last couple of days after some chatting about the interest rate decreases being delayed. I think that's what caused this to go. So it's still a very, very, very bullish market, but I am going to be looking for sell signals for this next week. Let's take a look at our precious metals markets. Because of the strength of the dollar, we've gotten some selling here of silver, but silver has kind of stayed in the same range that it was from the previous week. It did try to break below this low. Thankfully, my stops are below this one over here, so I was a little nervous about it continuing downward. But thankfully, Friday it recouped and it came back to Thursday's high. When you have a big down day like that, and then the next day it recovers all of it and breaks the previous high, that's usually a good sign that there's a trend reversal happening. And we kind of expect precious metals to keep going up a little bit, at least back up into this range, 2450 area. And so I've got a couple long positions that I've been holding for a couple weeks now, and I'm just holding on for the ride, and it hasn't been a fun ride by any means. But if you're not in, the fact that it's come back down to Thursday's high, that's actually a pretty good entry signal for to the upside, and then put your stops below Thursday's low. Because if it comes all the way back down to there, we're going to come back down to these lower levels. It'll be good to be on the sidelines, unless you want to be a short seller of the metals, which I usually don't recommend unless there's clear signals. But for now, I'm just going to be holding on to my silver position. Gold is a similar story. It hasn't been as volatile as silver as far as the percentages, but you can see that earlier in the week it started to try to go up. We saw it come down and break this low. These lows held. And by Friday, we got back to this previous high. There was just an inside bar right in there. So for gold, same situation. I'm going to be looking for it to continue to get back up to maybe the 2100 area. Earlier in the month, I thought it might come back up and try to test that high wick, but there's been a lot of selling pressure in this. I think we're going to stay in a consolidation for a little while. Like I said a couple weeks ago, I'm going to be buying the lows and selling the highs of this consolidation area when it comes to gold. Crude oil is always tied to kind of a macro view of what's going on in the world, and with different attacks and wars and things happening, that always is good for oil. And you can see that we've only been in this range, just bouncing back and forth, but it is trying to break free here. So Friday it tried to break above this and it came back down. So that's kind of a sign that we could be getting these bull signals that we've been looking for since the beginning of the year. I said, hey, I'm going to be waiting a few weeks before I look for buy signals, and it looks like we're possibly getting it. And so making higher lows, following this downtrend here, and it's starting to break that. What we would like to see is maybe a break of Friday's high, a break of this high up here, and a test back down, creating another higher low. That would be great, but it could easily make a move really quickly, and so we need to be kind of on our toes here with crude oil. I'm not going to be looking for sell signals here. I'm mainly looking for buy signals. So even if it comes down back into this range, I'll be looking for 3-bar reversals back to the upside. And I still want to be a little bit patient. We don't want to jump the gun, but this is usually the time of year that they are really good for energies. Natural gas is another market where I'm looking to go long. It's kind of already made a move, so I'm waiting for it to kind of have a pullback here and see if we can get closer to where these stops are, and see if we could get a long entry a little bit lower price. I've kind of missed the boat on this one, so I'm watching and waiting for potential pullbacks in this market so that I could go long. But it might be gone, and so this might be a train that's already left the station. But I want to be looking for pullbacks and formations, maybe consolidation formation of consolidation like this, or a 3-bar reversal back to the upside before I get back in. I really don't like buying at the tops of these type of things. So we'll see if it can have a pullback this next week. If not, we'll stay on the sidelines. But if it does, we'll be looking for buy signals. The grain markets have continued to be a little bit frustrating to me, but like I said, I still have a very small position on, and there has not been another buy signal to go long yet. So I think that may be coming. If Monday we get to Friday's high, when we start to break this downtrend, or if we make a formation, more conservative entry would be to wait to see if it makes a higher high, and it comes down and creates a higher low. That would be a trend change. I'm expecting these markets to rally the next few months. Just don't know when. So we just have to be patient. If you're not in this market and you want to go long, just wait for one of those signals. This would be a more aggressive signal getting in on Friday's high if it gets there Monday or Tuesday, and then waiting for a more conservative entry of a formation of a higher low. and we'll see how that plays out for soybeans. You could also look for soybean oil, which is a symbol at SO, and soybean oil it's considered part of the grain category, but that's one that we could be looking at as well if this one doesn't move for us. I still like wheat as well. Wheat has been a little bit stronger, even though you can see that it's been struggling around in this area. We've got a trend line coming down in here. So Monday, if it gets to Friday's high, that would be a buy signal. But you can see how much stronger it is than the soybeans. But really, once one or two of these markets start taking off, whether it's corn or soybean oil or wheat, the other ones usually follow. So this this is still a bullish market for me as far as looking forward. Right now, it's just consolidating, and what we're seeing right now is just I think a coiling up before a big expansion move, and I'm just hoping that I'm going to be right here. Again, I have a small position that if it does come down to these lows down in here, we'll stop ourselves out. But otherwise, we're just waiting. We're just waiting for the move to happen, and sometimes that's what trading is, a lot of waiting. Okay, bonds. I'm expecting bonds to rally a little bit, but I have not. I did not anticipate the strength of the dollar here the first few weeks of the year. I expected maybe a little bit at the beginning of the year, but for the dollar to kind of weaken a little bit. But again, sometimes the news will kind of bite you a little bit. You have to be ready. Right now, I have a contract on the bonds, and I have my stop below this 118 spot, so it's coming a little bit close to my stops. If you're not, I am expecting this market to rally, to see maybe some dollar weakness kind of come in, but that could have completely changed this week with some of the information that we got, economic data and whatnot. You can see that it just this last week has just been a down week. So what are we looking for? Potentially, the fact that it made this little apex candle here on Friday, if it gets to Friday's high on Monday, that's a good sign for potential movement back to the upside. Now, it could happen really quick, or it might just happen, grind all the way, grind back up. The other thing is it could just keep grinding back down, and so that's why we trade with stops. It could come back down into this area. If I do get stopped out, my play would be to wait for it to come back into this area and wait for that 3-bar reversal or that trend change and get back in long. So that's my play. If I'm right, I'm just going to hold on here. If I'm wrong, I'll let myself get stopped out and then wait for an entry down in this area and see if we could capture along later on in probably going into February if it does that. So we're already getting close to the end of January. All right, let's take a look at our Forex. As I mentioned earlier, I was dead wrong on my assessment of the dollar this so far this year. I was expecting a little bit of strength at the beginning and then have more weakness come in. But I was wrong here. Looking at the dollar yen, that carryover trade has continued. You can see that last week I was expecting this to maybe try to break above and then come back down and sell off, but I was wrong. I got stopped out a little bit. So yeah, it's been kind of a rough couple weeks for me, just being a little bit wrong on my analysis. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wait and see. You can see that I was expecting it to come to kind of these levels and maybe come back down, but it went to the next one. It went to this next pivot level, and Friday it came up to it and came back down. So that was nice to be able to pinpoint that level just using previous pivot points. That's my P3 method that I use, just looking at those previous pivot points. And then if I'm wrong on one, well, where's the next place it could go? Let's take a look at this area. And sure enough, it pivoted at this area. So what I would want to see on the dollar yen at this point, I would actually like to see Wednesday's low be broken, not just Friday's low, because that did create a nice little apex candle. And, if on Monday it comes to Friday's low, that's technically a 3-bar reversal. But we technically got that here, right here, and then the market rallied. And so I'm going to be waiting to be a seller of this market if it comes down to Wednesday's low. Otherwise, it can continue to come back up into this range. The carryover trade that I mentioned is the fact that if you hold dollars, you have a lot of money, and you hold dollars, you're getting a better interest rate than if you hold the yen. And so that causes the dollar yen to go up in price. So the yen had its way in November and December. But the end of December and here beginning of January, the dollar is getting back on track. And so with this market, like I said, I won't be a seller unless it comes down to Wednesday's low on Monday. Otherwise, I'll be looking for buy signals. The pound has just been in this consolidation for the last couple of months, January and most of December here since the end of November. So it's just been enjoying this back and forth. But what's really going to happen? The fact that the dollar had its way and the pound kind of held its ground. I think that would mean that if we see some of that dollar weakness that I do expect, that we would have some bullishness here in the pound. But at this point, I want to trade what I see, not what I hope. And so I'm going to be watching for this consolidation area to either be broken to the downside or to the upside and then wait for confirmation of those. In the meantime, we can always play the consolidation trade, buy at the lows, sell at the highs. And then if it does go against us, we should expect, tests that we could get back out. If it breaks below, it should test back up. So that's a high probability if we see that type of thing, unless there's a big news announcement that causes some big expansion moves right off the bat. But I don't foresee any of that stuff happening uh, unless we have since we've had a month and a half of this coiling. It's almost like a spring being pushed down, and then eventually that force is gonna spring it back in some direction. What direction? I really don't know, really can't say. So I'll just be watching to see what direction it's gonna go. The euro has been weaker than the pound. You can see right in here that it's also been consolidating, but it's slowly been creating lower highs and lower lows. The thing is that it just needs to stay above this level, and we're still technically in the longer term bullish position here. And so if we look at this week, it's had a little bit of a down day there on Tuesday, and then it's just been consolidating, not really doing much. So what I would expect for a bull trade, a long trade, is coming back to last Tuesday's high, this high right up in here. And the dotted line is the yearly open. And so it's going to be bearish until we, test that, break above that, and try to get higher. Though we still have some pivots way back over there, back in July that could be tested in the 112 range, 113 range. But for now, be looking for sell signals to come back down into this range, the last year's yearly open level. So be careful with your trading right now. I don't expect one way or the other. It's anybody's game. So we're going to be stocking whatever we see in the moment during the week. And the euro yen. The euro yen obviously is continuing to go higher. It's actually broken above this pivot level. So compared to the dollar yen, the euro has been stronger against the yen. But you can kind of see momentum slowing just a little bit. You're getting kind of a wedge in here, and we're getting up into overbought territory. I still think it could possibly get back up to these ranges. Just depends on what the Bank of Japan is going to do to try to get its currency to strengthen a bit against these pairs. But for now, we're in a bullish posture. If it comes back down to this area, the 160, 159.50 area, that area right in here, we'll be looking for buy signals for it to go back up. To be a seller, we really want to see this pivot to be broken and test back up and then create this lower high. So it's got a ways to go unless it has a really big, dramatic down day like it kind of did right in there. But I don't expect that to happen unless some news comes out to encourage it. All right, well that was a brief run through of what I'm looking at for next week. My health is getting a little bit better. I'm still dealing with some long-term issues that most of you who have followed me know about, and I appreciate your patience as we've started this beginning of the year. And some of the classes that I've had to postpone and delay. I really appreciate your patience. I'm hoping to see an upwards trend of my health. And but otherwise, I'm still here to help as much as I possibly can because I know how hard trading is. And even if you need a shoulder to cry on, be sure to reach out to me at kevin@tradingbuddysystem.com, and I'm happy to respond. Even if I'm sick in bed, I can respond to emails. So really appreciate all of you for joining me. Hope you have a great trading week next week, And if you like this content, like and subscribe and share with your other trading friends and trading buddies. Okay, appreciate you. We will talk to you again next week.